Hello and welcome. Look, if you or someone you care about was just told you have something called serrated polyposis syndrome, I get it. Hearing a medical term like that can be, well, a lot to take in. But that's why we're here. We're going to break this all down into simple, clear terms so you know exactly what's going on. So, you've just been diagnosed. That can feel confusing, maybe a little scary, and that's totally normal. But here's the thing, knowledge is power. And over the next few minutes, we're going to walk through what this condition is, how doctors manage it, and what you can do. Let's get right into it. All right, here's our game plan. First, what even is SPS? Then, how do doctors figure it out? We'll talk about risk, and most importantly, the plan to manage it. And we'll wrap up with what you can do in your day-to-day life. Simple as that. Okay, first things first. What in the world is serrated polyposis syndrome? I know, it sounds super complicated, but trust me, if we just take it one word at a time, it's actually pretty simple. Let's start with that first word, serrated. Serrated is just a fancy way of describing what these little growths or polyps look like up close, under a microscope. Think about the edge of a steak knife or a saw blade, how it has those jagged, saw-like teeth. That's it. That's what serrated means. It's just a description. And polyposis? That's just a medical word that means having lots of polyps. So you put it all together, serrated polyposis syndrome is simply a condition where a person gets a bunch of polyps that have that sawtooth look. See? It's just a name that describes what's going on. And if you're feeling like you're the only one dealing with this, I really want you to know that you are far from alone. SPS is actually the most common type of polyposis syndrome out there. In some groups of people getting regular checkups, it's found in as many as 1 out of every 111 people. This is a known condition, and there's a clear path forward. So how did your doctor land on this specific diagnosis? It's not a hunch or a guess. Doctors all over the world use a really specific checklist from the World Health Organization, the WHO, to make sure everyone's on the same page. And here's the key. The diagnosis isn't based on just one thing they find. Your doctor is looking at the big picture, the cumulative lifetime count of polyps from your colonoscopies. They're looking at how many there are, how big they get, and where they are in your colon. Let's break down that checklist. There are basically 2 main criteria. Think of them as 2 simple rules. The first is what we can call the 5 and 2 rule. That means they find at least 5 of these serrated polyps in the upper part of your colon, and at least 2 of those are bigger than 10 millimeters. The second one is the 20+ rule. This is a lifetime count of more than 20 serrated polyps anywhere in the colon. The really important part? You only have to meet one of these rules for a doctor to diagnose SPS. Okay, so you have the diagnosis. The next big question is pretty obvious. So what? What does this actually mean for my health long term? And that is a really important question. So let's tackle it head on. The main reason doctors watch SPS so closely is because it carries a lifetime risk of developing what are called advanced growths, which are polyps that have the potential to turn into cancer. That risk is estimated to be up to 50%. Now, I know that number sounds big, it sounds scary, but please hear me out, because that is only half of the story. And this is the other, much more important half of the story. Yes, the risk exists, but, and this is a huge but, we have a very powerful, very effective way to manage it. Research has shown time and time again that regular, intensive colonoscopies, what doctors call surveillance, can dramatically lower that risk. It's the key. This leads us right to your management plan. This is not about sitting back and waiting for something to happen. No way. This is all about being proactive and staying one step ahead of it. This is your game plan. The journey is pretty structured. Step 1 is called initial clearance. The goal here is simple. Your doctor works to get rid of all the polyps they can see. After that, you move into the surveillance phase. This just means you'll have follow-up colonoscopies every 1 to 3 years to keep an eye on things. And of course, there's ongoing care, where other options, like surgery, are talked about, but only if they're really needed. So the whole point of this entire plan is prevention. It's a really simple 2-part strategy. Part 1, remove the polyps that are there. Part 2, watch carefully and consistently to catch any new ones and get them out before they ever have a chance to cause trouble. That's it. Now, besides what the doctors do, there are some really powerful things that are totally in your control. These are actions you can start taking today that make a real difference. All right, here are your big 3 action items. Number 1, if you smoke,
Quitting is probably the single most impactful thing you can do for yourself. There is a very strong link between smoking and SPS. Number 2, stick to your schedule. Showing up for those 1 to 3 year colonoscopies is absolutely critical. It's your safety net. And number 3, talk to your family. We're talking parents, siblings, children. They might need to get screened earlier or more often, so they need to know.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here, right? From what this thing is, to how it's diagnosed, the risks, and the plan. So after all that, if you remember just one thing from our chat today, what should it be? Here it is, Serrated Polyposis Syndrome, even though it has a long, weird name, is a known and manageable condition. It's not some mystery. Your best defense is incredibly straightforward, regular colonoscopies. And that means your role, showing up, making healthy choices like quitting smoking, talking to your family, is absolutely essential. When it comes down to it, you are the most important, most powerful member of your own healthcare team. Never forget that.